Oh man, looks like we're of drinking age today. It
Oh,
is episode 21.
you 21 now.
Yeah, we 21, dog. Man, midnight hit. Popped open the laptop, and I'm like, you know what? It's time, man. We're 21 now, so
Time
we
to
can
do
pop a
all
couple
the things
tops.
we've been doing since we were 15.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Episode 21, Rangers of the Grid.
Yep.
Uh, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Same, same.
Yeah, it's kind of like, just in the grind of it all. So,
Yeah, man. It's not bad. Like life's good. Put out episode 20 interview with Dan Southworth
yes.
last week. Put up the YouTube of Dan Southworth. We've been
Hmm.
putting up some clips have been doing well on social, mainly Instagram. I think this week though, and me putting it out there to the universe is gonna make me have to do it, is I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to start up our TikTok
Oh, okay.
with some of these clips. Shout out to Marcus for all that, because the reason any of them seem good, it's because Marcus is doing it.
It
Marcus does great at those things. He does great at reels. I might try to make some every now and then too. You'll be able to
it's
tell the difference.
I'll say this, man. It's kind of like when you look at like what reels really are. Wow, it's a lot of alliteration right there. But what they really are is just like you can do them as like videos, which is like how we've been doing them. But you can also just do them as flyers, like when I'm promoting my matches. Just take that
Mm-hmm.
still image, throw some music on it. You could add your little stamps, you know, and just have that. So it's like it doesn't have to be anything crazy,
Well, I
but the
think what's
videos
been
are nice
helpful,
though.
too, is making them short down like that will make it really easy
Mhm.
transition. I think to put on another social media platform.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna make an X account finally for us too.
No,
We have a Threads. We don't use it as much. I need to get on that, but it's not terrible. Like we're getting followers like
no, dude. You just said
all
what
the
we're
time.
at. I looked today this morning and we were at 808 on the Instagram. 808s and heartbreaks. But now what did you say it's up to now?
I think it's like 819, right? Something
Let me
like
look.
that.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Yeah, 819.
Yeah.
We doing good.
The grind.
Yeah.
The grind to 1,000. I think when we do 1,000, I might do a little giveaway.
Oh,
Might give something away.
what we giving away?
I don't know. I have to figure something out.
We'll figure it out.
It'll be fun.
Be interesting.
Yeah, just a little quick like thank you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But today is interesting because we are covering the 20th anniversary episode from I believe Super Megaforce, technically, right? It's
Yes.
technically Super Megaforce, the second season of Megaforce.
Yes.
And it's called Legendary Battle. Now, Marcus brought up a great point. It's great that we're doing that on episode 21, right?
Yes.
Tell me why.
Because this aired, it was the 20th special, but it really aired in 2014.
Yeah.
So it was really like after because it was all because that gap, that 1 year gap where they re-aired Mighty Morphin. So because of that, that kind of pushed things back a year, but then they kind of caught up with like Ninja Steel and everything and now. But yeah, this so us doing it, I put covering the 20th anniversary special on episode 21 actually fits
Mm-hmm.
perfectly with it. So what
Yeah,
they
man.
did,
I like it. I'm ready for it. Should I we watched it. I know you've seen it before, and I watched it for the
yeah.
first time. And you should we just jump into it?
Let's just go, dude. Let's just go.
Okay. So I think believe was it Megaforce? Megaforce in general was an option at one point for us to watch. I think it was the least voted. It
Yeah,
was the least voted. A lot of people were
yeah.
even made
It
comments of like, this sucks. Like that sucks. And I was like, okay,
it's
like
rough.
everyone kept saying it. You weren't excited about it. You're like, oh man, that show sucked. Okay. So then I go to watch it. I watched the 55-minute version, like
Yep,
Marcus recommended to me.
yep.
Um, First impressions, and we're not talking about like like I guess the like final fight, right? Which is like the main thing everybody was probably really wanting to
Yeah,
see.
we just got to talk the whole thing in general.
What I saw. Um, right off the bat, there's a couple things where I was like, I didn't know anything about it, and it makes
Hmm.
much more sense to me now because I've seen remember the toys.
Yeah,
Um, the little mini Lego keychain things, right?
yeah, the keys.
Yeah, the keys with these legendary powers, they
Hmm.
call it, right? Uh, for me, all right, just my opinion looking at this, I didn't like it.
Yep.
Reason being is it felt like one past seasons were a crutch because maybe they didn't know what to do. They didn't
Hmm.
know like what to do, and also it doesn't it maybe hey, I've only watched that episode, so maybe the first time they did it, it was really cool, but on this episode in particular is what we're talking about. It didn't feel special.
Yeah.
It didn't feel special. Now I will give them credit. The first one they use in this episode is Mighty Morphin Red,
Yep.
and I saw that as a little bit of a homage to the whole thing, right? But I also was like, I don't know. I guess this is just an older outsider looking in somewhat. It just felt like we're just going to use this cool old powers, right? Old
Mhm.
powers or whatever. But like there was to me, maybe there was in the past. There was like no build up to it.
No. Um,
It didn't seem special whatsoever. It just seemed like, oh yeah, cool. I'm going to use these right now just because I can. It wasn't like almost like he had to.
yeah. I will say this. Um, so the season started off because I remember I tried watching it, like with all like I said, the Neo Saban era from which started with Samurai to season one of Beast Morphers. It's like I tried watching those and I can never like find myself getting into them. They did go very like these seasons go way back to that like formula we were talking about with Dan, like that Saban has of
Mm-hmm.
like stick to the status quo of what he does. Like every season's very, very similar. And I know with Megaforce, which by the way, awful name. I was
Yeah,
gonna say, I
yeah.
hate that name. I hate that name. It like you think you're cooler than you are, you know. And then Super Mega Force. Okay, like calm down, dude.
I
But
also thought like it sounds like some that name honestly, and I guess this will go into what I think about it from their end a lot.
yeah,
Somewhat is I think they were trying to get a name that was simple for the show's aimed at.
and exactly. And this was especially this season was a super throwback to like Mighty Morphin. They wanted to do the same formula, like have five kids in high school. They had the same original five colors.
Makes sense
Uh,
for a 20th season, right?
right. And then they have the original same five colors. The their like mentor is this head on a wall
I saw that.
with like the
Very
little
Zordon-esque with the voice too.
well, he even said like my mentor Zordon. I was like, well, where the F have you been this whole time then? Like, why have you not helped with all this other stuff? Where you been, bro? Where you been? Just in this little cave with your little wannabe Wally robot going around? But the season, it starts off with Troy. Isn't yeah, Troy on the bus having like a vision of the legendary battle.
Yeah.
So it's like they
He
teased
kept
it.
I had to go back and look at that scene just
Yeah.
because he mentioned it quite a bit.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, this is just like my dream.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it, they teased it all the way there in the very first episode. Um, and the thing that kind of sucks for me about it is I remember seeing the original legendary battle from the Super Sentai series because it's on YouTube and you can watch it. And I'll say this, the actual battle that we get is maybe 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
In the Super Sentai version, it's
Mm-hmm.
long.
Really?
It's long, and you have literally every like they talk about here, like, oh look, it's all these Rangers and all, from here. Well, you got to remember, bro, that's just like they're just using like the Power Rangers. In Sentai, they're using everyone. There are Rangers that we didn't get before, like in Mystic Force. They have like a white one, they have the gold one, they have, all the extra Rangers that pop up, like SPD Cat Ranger is in Legendary Battle.
Okay.
And Cat only morphed once, in
Yeah.
SPD. So it's like she's here at the Legendary. So it was like that was, and I know it's different. You can't do everything, but it's kind of like one of those things, like you said, in a season that's going back and trying to have that nostalgia and relive that Mighty Morphin era.
Mhm.
It was a miss. They failed.
Yeah, that's what it seems like, man. Yeah, I don't know. I just was like, okay, I don't know about this one for them. I really
It's
did.
like
I was like, I don't know about this for them.
I'll put it like this. It's very much like with the almost the same problem as Operation Overdrive had with Once and Always, or Once Ranger, Always a Ranger, where it was like you have this season that's a legacy season, and you're doing this thing that's so big where it's like, oh, we have to like collect these gems and stuff. Well, hey, scatter them all throughout the universe, so then that way, when the time comes and these new like these older veteran rangers show up, it means something. It's not just a random thing. And so it's like with this, if you're teasing this massive battle to come of all these
Mhm.
other rangers showing up, have them come up throughout. And I think only in Megaforce they had uh like cameos from Jaden, the Red Samurai Ranger. He popped up once. Casey from Jungle Fury. And then I forget who else besides like the ones that were involved in Legendary Battle. I think that was kind of it who showed up.
Yeah, I just thought some things were interesting. I thought, because I watched the long version, so basically like them getting their butt kicked, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning. Which was, that was kind of decent, right? Like I didn't skip
Yeah.
any of that stuff. Um, what I found interesting though, and okay, here I'll give them some positives. I like how like you're kind of teased that like they're going to have past characters
Yeah.
throughout, right? Because they're there as the city's under attack, right? To help or do whatever. What I found was really interesting, and this is, I guess, like my just logic coming in. How come supposedly everyone in the city's at this like under the bridge? Okay. Supposedly everyone's there,
Hey,
and
bro,
the bad guys just so happen to have everyone there when they
because
come up,
that's
right?
how it goes.
It's just funny to me how that worked. And
Well, that's very no, I get what you're saying. It's very like, oh, of course they're all just here and that's where they show up. But I mean, in kind of playing devil's advocate, that was sort of the same thing with Countdown to Destruction. Everyone's
yeah.
kind of in that like same building area by the overpass, and the Rangers are there. It's very similar thing, but
I like though how, and they do this a lot when it comes to the end of a season. All the bad guys come, right?
yeah,
Like they send everybody. But
yes.
give credit on this one, it looked like a lot.
Yeah, well, and that was the thing about the second season with Super Mega Force was it was like, oh, it's an armada, like this whole like they're invading this whole thing. So that's why I was thinking, like, dude, imagine, and I know we were we like talked about the fever dream of Hexagon, but
Mm.
imagine a season, and it's not saying you have to go full blown Hexagon on it, but in this season with Mega Force and Super Mega Force, they were going to other like towns that exist within the Ranger world. Like
Hmm.
they're involved, like you saw, they have like the Ninja Storm like powers for their Zords. They have Red Lion from Wild Force. They have Operation Overdrive card. They have the uh they can form this sort of their own version of like the SPD, you know,
Yeah.
Megazord and all that. So it's like, why not, instead of just going there in like this city where it's like no one's there and it's just at night and no one's around, just only them. Dude, sprinkle in some Rangers there, here and there, and like do it throughout the season.
That's where I thought it might have been cool. Like I don't know how it went down, but what you're saying, like that would make a ton of sense why all these people are like
Mhm.
here. You know what I
Or at
mean?
least have it to where it's like this invasion from this armada is so large. It's not just in their town of where they're at. It's everywhere. It's global.
Yeah, because like how is suddenly everyone there and haven't
Exactly.
been?
And if it would
But
make sense for them to have it at different spots, so it's like, okay, we're fighting the war on our end, we're fighting it over here. So then once the main final battle starts, well, hey, this is kind of like your season. These are your villains. It makes sense that when that the main guy is going to come after you guys. So that's why
so
we show up to help.
let's talk about this battle then. Let's talk about the battle. Visually, at first, it looks really cool, I think,
Oh yeah,
to see them all, right?
yeah, it's amazing.
And the bad guys too, right? Because like you need a bunch of bad guys for the good
Oh
guys
yeah,
to
yeah.
beat.
Come on.
Um, only so many were actually like without their helmets.
Yes, only 10.
Um, only 10. Some I thought were interesting because Red Zio's there, but Tommy's there as green.
Yep. And then Red Turbo showed up, but Tommy's in
Tommy
green and TJ's in blue.
for in
Yeah.
space.
But it was but Black Dino Thunder wasn't there with the other.
Uh-huh.
It was like y'all, I get you trying to do this like continuity thing, but you're still messing it up.
It was in that some of that stuff was interesting. I was like, okay, like this don't make sense.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe I'm just reading too much into it, you know.
I think that's one of those things as an adult, because let's be real, this was made for us. It was like, I know it's geared towards kids, but whenever they do um an anniversary special, especially like the 20th, they were trying to bring back like that, like our generation.
Wasn't his helmet different too, Tommy's?
Yeah, I think it kind of went back and forth from like the Dino Thunder Fighting Spirit with the silver lines to
Mm-hmm.
the like just all green. I think it kind of went back and forth.
Yeah, it was just funny. Um, there's just I don't know, some things are funny, like Tommy's in Green Ranger, but Saba's still a thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not saying these are bad. I'm just saying like it's just interesting.
Speaking of the appearance of Saba, I just have to say this because something I watched back. Why the hell is that kid just in a car by himself?
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
I thought that I'm like, where's this kid's parents? Did they get taken?
I
It
know.
might be a little too dark for Rangers. I get that. This is before Once and Always. They ain't trying to get that dark there. But I'm just like, why is this kid all alone in a station wagon, which is
Mm-hmm.
clearly packed? Like you could tell, like they were going camping or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, so what? His parents got taken or killed, and the bad guys just left the kid there. Like, kid, you're
What
gonna
what
be
what
an
blew my
orphan
mind
now,
is that there wasn't a typical cinema trope where I thought when he got saved, the car was going to fall off
right?
after.
I was waiting for
Normally
that
that
too.
happens, but it makes so much sense, right? It's a kid show. Like, why would that happen?
Yeah,
Like it's a kid show at the end of the day. Yeah, I just some of this stuff was interesting. Like, it was cool to see. You know, obviously Tommy, TJ, Cassie, Leo,
dude,
Damon,
that
Corone,
Lost Galaxy
Carter,
crew was like the one that was almost full.
yeah, Dana, Wes, Mike,
Yeah.
and Emily, right? But it was just
Oh
interesting.
yeah. The
You're right. The
ninja.
Lost Galaxy crew, the Charlie Brown crew.
They had the most, which is when you think about it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like thinking a little bit more now and just like how things are going. Like it's funny. Like there's some things that I wish we could have seen, right? Like
Oh.
I think that'll be a fun thing we could talk about in a second.
Yeah,
But knowing that a lot of people weren't there because this was from what Dan had made a comment to us about, was saying how it's
my good friend
non-union.
Dan. Yeah,
Yeah. Non-union. I thought that was interesting.
yeah. So let's talk about that, like how it came to be, and like almost what could have been.
Hmm.
This was originally for the 20th episode. They were trying to get back as many Mighty Morphin casts as possible. That was their original goal. They wanted to have the reunion of Mighty Morphin crew. Um, and this is where David Yost came out and told everybody that, yeah, he's not going back because he was bullied for being gay. Um, Walter Jones came out too and said, like, yeah, well, I stand with David Yost. He's bullied for being gay, and I received a bunch of like racist like remarks and stuff too while I was on the set. Like, it was not good. So he's saying like they weren't coming back for that. And that's when this kind of got a lot of traction because this was all like covered by TMZ. And then Jason David Frank put out a video and I think even went on like TMZ Live and talked about it. And he was like, yeah, I'm coming back. Like, this is Rangers. It's 20 years. It deserves to be celebrated. I'm always going to come back for this. Whenever I get a chance, I'm there.
Yeah,
So,
that's wild looking back, right? Because things happen, right?
yeah.
Like things happen. Um, which isn't surprising now why certain things are happening,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Like I'm like,
once and always makes a lot more sense now with who's the main, let's be real, who are the main ones in that move, in that
yeah, for
Billy
sure.
and Zach.
Yeah, and it's also like, the cards fell where they were supposed to, I think, a little bit,
Yeah.
right? With like, the Austin St. John thing, right? Like,
Mm.
let's be real about that. Like,
Yeah.
I think,
He
we can
didn't go
be
because
real.
he was only offered $2,000.
Yeah, he was offered something low, which Dan told us, oh, that was more than he was offered.
Yeah. Austin St. John was only offered $2,000 for it. Um, Dan was only offered 1,000, and then the Titanium Ranger, that actor, he was originally invited, and like they offered him, "Hey, would you want to come back?" Because after you found out that Mighty Morphin crew reunion wasn't happening, it kind of turned into a scramble to see who they could get.
And that's
And
really interesting to me because think about it, Marcus. Like, of the original Mighty Morphin crew, Jason, Zach, Billy, obviously Trini, and then Kimberly, none of them are in.
no, only
Like,
Tommy.
yeah, only Tommy. It's like it's interesting, right? When you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But I think, and I get why, like when we watched the clip of the actual battle, you have your flashes of the other teams, but let's be real, Super Mega Force team, they're the main focus.
mhm.
Like if you see a group of some of the other like legendary warriors or legendary rangers fighting, oh wait, here's a Mega Force team. Don't forget, this is their season. It's clear that they're putting them over and giving them the rub.
Yeah, yeah.
But imagine what could have been if we had that Mighty Morphin reunion in a sense,
Mhm.
and you had the red, blue, yellow, black, and pink with the new red, blue, yellow, black, and pink. Because the Megaforce team, they fought in their just Megaforce suits, not their Super Megaforce suits. So we
No,
could have
you're
had
right.
that. So I think if that had really happened, I think the dynamic of the whole episode would have changed to a more, we would have seen a even more of a passing of the torch to that team.
Yeah. I also think too, and just maybe the episodes that they shoot, they were only able to get so much.
Yeah.
Um, and this is gonna sound bad in a way, but I bet you they felt like, hey man, we got Tommy.
Yeah.
Like Tommy just came, I think, off an MMA fight, winning.
Yeah. He
Tommy's,
was,
and this is when he started full swing of cons.
yeah.
He kind of put the Power Ranger cons thing on the map.
Yeah, because that he was the one that sort of, this is when he like ignited all of that of
And
like,
this is when
yeah,
he like took over being like a Power Ranger.
yeah,
Like he took ownership of it. He made it seem cool, I think, for a lot of people
yeah,
too.
because let's be real, people would kind of and I've seen this, I've heard people talk about this, just about like not just Power Rangers, but I'm sure this is even within the world of Power Rangers. Um, like an actor, you're talking about like, how they were on the CW show, and let's be real, the CW is like geared towards that teen, young adult. Writing might not be good, might be okay, stories, whatever. But hey, we got abs, and that's what they're. And so they're saying, like, yeah, I got to the point where I was like, well, I want to go do theater because I want people to see me as an actual actor, not just this guy that's in this TV teen drama. And every episode, here's, oh, my shirt's off. Oh, I got to show. He wanted to be taken seriously. And he's like, yeah, and the guy he was talking to was saying, like, yeah, I get that because I went through the same thing. I wanted people to see me as an actual actor and not just like, oh, you were Lex Luthor on Smallville. And
And I
so I
think this
feel like,
happened that happens a lot.
oh yeah, especially so like imagine on like an actual like show, cable show that has a budget bigger, let's be real, significantly, significantly larger budget of Power Rangers. But then you're known as just like, oh, I'm the Power Ranger guy. And you kind of have like
Yeah.
that stigma of you,
Hmm.
like, oh well, you only do Power Rangers.
Yeah, man.
And you're and so you gotta kind of like, because I think for if you're like an actor trying to be like an actual actor, like Dan's actual like SAG, you
Well,
know,
and
actor.
speaking of SAG, that is the main reason he didn't do this.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Because they went back to non-union.
Yeah, and that was really the main reason he didn't do it.
Mhm. Yeah.
He saw
And,
it as a step back, which I
mhm,
don't blame him. Probably was for jobs. Like they look at what you've been
mhm.
doing. They're like, "Oh man, you kind of went backwards on us," and to that, I don't blame him whatsoever.
No.
I thought the battle itself was cool. It was, I guess, cool, right? It was cool. Maybe it got across what they wanted. I don't know. Um, I also, it's weird, man. The more I watch this stuff, the more I don't like. I don't get upset about it. Anything. I'm like, okay, like this is what they do.
Yeah.
Truth be told, this is Power Rangers. Like this is Power Rangers. They are aimed to 7 to 12 year olds,
Yep.
and that's who they were. This show. That's where I like. Okay, we can get in this part. That's when I watched this. All I thought to myself, the keychain, the what do they call them, keys, right?
Yeah.
All that stuff. I think is just aimed to like try to get garner interest from the who they're aiming for, which are kids.
Hmm.
I think the hope is that they get some buy-in from past viewership, right? Past
Hmm.
people who are fans of the show based off these keys and like what they can turn to. Because if I
Hmm.
remember correctly, Marcus, they were slanging out not old school figures, but of past Rangers during this time. There was a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
action figures of these guys
Yeah. I
and
have
the
like,
cards too.
yeah, they had the because they had like the cards for Megaforce. That was like their whole thing. So they were making cards of old Rangers, of old teams. Once they got Super Megaforce with the keys, dude, those keys are a hot commodity. Like people are out trying to collect them. Like people will just collect the
Yeah.
keys. And so
Oh,
that was
yeah.
like, especially because I think some of them like weren't made. Because I think Titanium Ranger didn't get made because he's like a US Ranger, like US exclusive. So I think there was one that was made of him. So like people do will sell that one for money.
But just like during this time, I think there was just a lot of stuff coming out. Like the
Yeah.
Monopoly game. The Monopoly game came out during this, right?
I've yeah.
It's
That was
expensive now.
the which I've never seen, which I've always
Oh, I
wanted.
remember seeing that in Walmart. I just
Oh,
didn't buy it at the time.
oh. But that, and then I remember they had that whole thing when it was like all the Red Rangers from up to that point, like in Times Square, going around New
Yep.
York, like playing basketball, riding the subway. going all up and down New York.
Man, if only we had that kind of marketing now.
Well, dude, right? And then that was also the first time if I remember correctly, the Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade had the balloon of the Red Ranger. I think it was in that first, yeah, it was because it was the 20th anniversary. Like they were marketing it hard. Which where we at, Hasbro?
Well, and it's almost like, can they? Like they only can to a point, right?
Yeah, but
Well,
at least
actually, no, Hasbro can.
well, wait, what did I
The
say?
act No, you said where we at Hasbro, and I
Oh,
was
okay.
like, well, I don't know to a point, but then I was like, you know what, you're right though, they can. Hasbro can, bro. The only ones that really can't are the actors.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about like promoting because this is the other thing too. You talk about what are you promoting? Are we promoting the show or the toys? Now I know it's like they're inextricably linked. The like Dan said, the merchandise sales ultimately fund the show.
Mm-hmm. Just like most shows.
Yeah, yeah, which happens a lot with like cartoons and other like superhero cartoon shows and stuff. But if you know that's your main source of funding, like okay, well, we can get from like the studio or whatever 20 grand. We need to come up with another like to make sure we're good and keep this thing rolling. We need another, God, maybe 50 grand. Well, where are you at promoting your products?
I even think the numbers are much higher than that.
Oh no, I know.
But
I know. Those are just like the only like I'm not trying to get all like, in the business. Well, I'm just giving an example. Like,
yeah,
where's that
you're right though. There
promotion?
was a lot of like, dude, it's crazy looking back at it. There was a lot of like figures, promotion, everything for this. And I'm gonna make an assumption that it's not well received, like as far as the episode with the fandom.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right or wrong?
I feel like we have one of the most toxic fandoms though.
Dude,
I honestly, and I know I'm part of it, but I'm being real. I feel like our fandom, and there's a lot of toxicity within fandoms as a whole and fandom culture. But I feel like Rangers as a whole is kind of one of those It's almost one of the most toxic.
it is, and a lot of it has to do with I think it's too, Marcus. I bring it up almost every episode. Adults need to check themselves
Yes.
on who it was for.
Yes.
Like you're gonna get mad that it doesn't have this storyline or whatever, this and that,
It's not
dude.
for us anymore.
And if
We're
it's
out
a
of there.
30-minute episode, it's
Hey,
actually what, 21
we'll have
minutes?
yeah, we'll have stuff that they'll have stuff in there. Like, and I'll say this too. There's always stuff that people of all ages, I feel like, can appreciate and will find like will like with Rangers. But as a whole, it's geared to those kids. This ain't our
Mm-hmm.
show no more.
It has been
No.
long
Once
time.
and always, yes. For everyone. That's a
Mm-hmm.
legit for the entire family.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a special. And
Mm-hmm.
guess what? If we keep if the fandom keeps acting up like they are, and like it does, you think they're gonna want to like do another special?
Well, I think it's interesting is that, the more you read things and see things, the more it seems like, and this happens, like you said, Marcus, this happens all the time, but
Yes.
with the Power Rangers history, but there a lot of the assumption is that this Cosmic Fury is assumed to be it.
Yes.
You know what I
I
mean?
I
Like
think
that's the
it's
assumption.
I know that's the assumption, but my hope is like I said earlier, I hope that it's actually the reboot.
And we'll never know, like
We won't
like
know till
they shot it. You got to think they shot it as if it's the end
yeah.
already. Like it's been shot. Like that guy said it. Simon Bennett said it. He's like, this is
Mhm.
shot. I would love to get him on the podcast. I saw he did some
Oh
podcasts
yeah.
recently. That'd be cool, just interesting. I'd actually like to get him on maybe after a few episodes of Cosmic, or even after the end. Maybe we could reach out, try to see what's
Yeah.
up.
Like, hey, it's
Um,
done. Let's talk.
yeah, let's talk, man. Let's spill some tea. This ain't the red table. Don't worry, you safe. But
We're not just
yeah,
asking like, hey, bro, you talking to fans,
yeah,
like
brother. Like
appreciative fans. So,
I'm not gonna get
well,
on you
Simon
because you
Bennett,
didn't do
we
what I
coming.
wanted. Yeah, and that's my thing. Like it, even when I had watched this episode, I'm like watching it and
Mhm.
seeing stuff, and I'm like, they're doing this for the kids. Like, think about it.
100%.
In some ways, we could take a win from this because wow, that kid thinks the White Ranger's so sick. He's gonna
Right?
go back and want to see the original movie. He's gonna want to watch more old stuff,
Mm.
which is the reason I think like those guys are so popular that they push out the older products.
Because think of it's like that meme. I know you've probably seen this. It's like the picture of this girl sitting on her dad's lap. He's got a beer, but they're both looking at this folder full of Pokemon cards. Because it's all
Mhm.
about this little girl that asked her dad, "Dad, have you ever heard of Pokemon?"
Yep.
And he's like, "Oh, let me tell you. Hold up." And they spent hours going. He had busted out his binder, going through it, showing her all the cards.
Hmm.
And that, like you said, that's the thing with Mighty Morphin. You get these kids thinking, "Oh, that's Tommy. Oh, Dad, do you know about Tommy? Oh, do I know about Tommy? I was there when Tommy was evil. What? Tommy was evil?
What? Tommy's
Let me."
evil.
Yeah, and that brother almost destroyed the Rangers.
Yeah, like
So
that's a
imagine getting to relive that moment with like all over again, and then showing your kids, and then seeing their excitement, their joy in discovering this old stuff,
yeah,
and then
Marcus.
going
I think
down that journey.
I think to myself too, man, that like now this is on YouTube, bro. Like this is so easy to
Yeah,
access now, right?
it is.
Like everybody can get this stuff now. Like everybody can watch, man. Like just as how I've been rewatching stuff, right? And it's been off YouTube. It is. It's been off YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I think people can do the same. And it's fun to watch. Like some of the stuff's fun. Like I know
Yeah,
people hate on some of these things. Like I wish I had more time to watch more. The only one I'm gonna give myself time to watch is Dino Fury. It's Dino Fury, right? Or
yeah.
Dino Charge.
Dino Fury.
Yeah,
Dino
yeah,
Charge
yeah.
was the season after Super Mega Force,
Okay.
and they say that's like
Because
the best of the Neo Saban era.
that would be interesting to watch then, I guess, later. You know what?
Yeah,
That makes sense. They make a lot of toys from Dino Charge.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean they make a lot of toys for Dino Charge, so that's not surprising then. But yeah, like that's something I think would be interesting to me,
yeah.
you know. So overall, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on this wild?
Yes. I don't know. I think it wasn't to me. Just straight up, it wasn't good.
Mhm.
It was hard to watch at times. It's like, oh God, here we go again. Like it was cool because in the sense of like they had to overcome so much
Mhm.
that it's like cool. I just thought, and I'm not gonna lie, I just thought it's like it was weird how they defeat the main evil dude, but then they freak out because then foot soldiers show up. Like y'all like be like, oh my god, it's so many. It's really only like 5 rows of them. Like it ain't that much,
Yeah.
like you literally just killed like millions.
But like they do that though, bro. Like
No,
remember
I
we
know,
we
but it's just
joked
like
about
to me
on
that's
Turbo
annoying
where
because it's
Tommy
like,
and them had a hard time with their version of Putty suddenly.
yeah, yeah, very true, yeah.
Like
But
you
it's
know what I
just like
mean? Like,
you just
come on.
killed like millions of them, and now you can't deal with what another 150.
Nope,
Hey
can't.
man, hey man, where's Doggy Kruger at? Where's Doggy Kruger at? Because
I
he took
know.
out 100 like Crybots like that
You're right.
and break a sweat.
I
And he
know.
just like, and then took out the bad guy too. Like, come on, dude. Like, so to me, that stuff was kind of like a really, guys, really
Some guys didn't get a shine either.
no.
But also, like, I'll say this: if they're actual, like, the actor's not there, why would they get a shine?
Very true. No, that's 100%. That's very true. But like I said, that's one of the big differences from the Sentai version than what we got. And I'll find the video and send it to you so you can like watch because it's dope. You're gonna be like, oh, that's heckin' cool. But I will say this: I think Rangers realize the error of their ways with this because that next special, the 25th anniversary special, so good,
Yeah.
so good. It was one of those things like I wish this one was like an hour long.
Yeah. Well, that's a good episode, right? Like you
It's
wanted more.
yeah, it was great. It was like one of those things that's like, I get what you do, what you're doing here, and it was cool, but it's like they could have done more. And I think that's kind of like, hey, we did a good thing and we left you wanting more, but it's like y'all gave so much more to this one when you know which wasn't good, and you know this one is great.
But I also think that I bet you that 20th anniversary, they had a crazy spike in money coming.
Oh yeah, because of all the marketing.
Oh yeah, like and that's honestly how you have to do it, whether people like it later or not.
Yes.
There was something for everyone.
Yeah, there is.
Something everyone. They hit emotional heartstrings. If I'm a kid, I think it looks sick. Like, come on, bro.
Mhm.
Great use of in space with the silver and red ranger because on the basically they're like
Yeah,
their hoverboard type thing, like flying
yeah,
out.
that was
Like
cool. Yeah.
the smart, like little things are smart. What they used, OG red in the beginning, right, to start them off.
Hmm.
Like, is it my was is do I think Megaforce is my cup of tea? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not my cup of tea. It was obviously someone's.
Yeah.
It was someone's, right? It was someone's enough. But I will say, and this is why I think it's not mine. This will be probably the last thing I even talk about this episode. Um, I feel like it was lazy.
Yes.
The whole creation of that season, the concept is lazy.
Well, but that was also what they did. They honestly just took that from Super Sentai.
Well, it's lazy
But
for them too, I guess.
I think though, it's Super Sentai, it works better because that's like a continuous season, like it's a continuous thing. They all bleed into each other. We have more crossovers and team up episodes than we have with Power Rangers,
That'd
where it's
probably
like,
make me like enjoy it more and not think it like that.
mhm.
If I realize like, oh, ours are like that, but ours aren't. They're so
No, I know, and that's the thing too. That's kind of weird. Like again, you get to the point where it's like, wait, I thought these Rangers lost their powers, like their powers are done. How can they
yeah.
access them? Like, what's going on with this? It's like it works when they want it to work type thing, and I get that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think them using like having the use of other Ranger powers from past seasons would have worked better had Power Rangers gone the Super Sentai route of having more connections.
Yeah, it would have been cool, man. I think in general, like that would be a cool route for them to go in,
Yeah.
where everything's just connected, especially now that they're doing this once and always, right?
And I think that's what we're getting, and I think that's kind of where they're going. Like back to this is a shared connected universe.
Yeah, man. But hey, like I'll say this, like, it's nice to see certain people on your
All right.
screen for Power Rangers. So like you said, hopefully we get more of it, right?
Yeah.
For what we got. I have a couple other things I want to talk about. Do you have anything else to hit on this 20th anniversary?
Nope.
Okay.
Bury it. Put
Um,
it back away. Let's
bury it,
move
put it
on.
back away. So PulseCon's coming up. Hasbro PulseCon on the 22nd. So that would be, I believe, next Friday.
Yes.
Um, there's a little rumor that that's when the Master Morpher would drop.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
That and people are hoping we're not swerved and we just get the Omega Rangers pack.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, which I agree with them. I hope we're not swerved. Because people already got the Master Morpher. There's a bunch of people
Yeah.
that ordered either on eBay or through some person in Singapore and got it. Like they got it. And it's cool. Like I want to get it.
I do. I too.
I might even be willing to pay for Hasbro's like membership thing.
If that's what you gotta do to get it.
Yeah, to like
Yeah.
get it early so it don't sell out.
Yeah. I would do that too.
Yeah, because I'd really like to have it. And I'm not even saying like get one to keep in box and then whatever. I want to display it.
Oh, it's yeah, 100% display.
It'd be really cool. It might be one of the most hyped up items I think for Rangers and forever, especially just because of everything that's happened the past year.
Yeah.
You know, what else is I gonna bring up? Oh,
Maybe
how many weeks now? Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, do you know if they're going to that you might with the HasLab stuff? Wonder if they'll announce that.
Yeah, that might get a drop too. Who knows, man?
Hopefully, because I'm saying if that's a thing that they talk about, shut up and take my money.
Oh, yeah. You know what else has been people have been popping up with? Amazon's still selling it right now, and I guess it's towards the end of September. Is the Turbo Power Ranger figure, Lightning Fig.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's like
yeah, I
if
heard
you
that
buy
dropped finally.
like $75 worth of stuff, you get 10% off, and that's included in one of
Huh?
them. So people are trying to make come up on this. I follow this one guy. He posts a lot of cool stuff like this. He even posts like DVDs, Power Ranger DVDs, which is cool, I guess, for people, right? If they've never like they don't go on YouTube like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so looking ahead, episode 22, we decided to do it on the Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Yep.
And I think this will be really fun.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, man, we've got a lot of like, good engagement from people when we talk about Beetleborgs. You know, like
Yeah.
we get a lot of good engagement about it, I think.
It's definitely one of those things it's definitely remembered.
Yeah,
And
like
not
there
like a
was a lot of things
and
about
not
it.
in like a deep cut kind of way where people like, oh, like they remember Beetleborgs.
Yeah, they really do, which is always funny to me. Like, they remember it. I don't know. It's just funny, like how they do remember
Yeah.
everything. I'm like, what the heck? Like, how do y'all remember this? But they're just like us, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we remember all this crazy stuff too. Like, I don't know. I think it's cool. That's gonna be a fun one next week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not as long as people think, but it is kind of longer. So that will probably be a longer episode than normal.
Yeah.
Um, so that'll be fun. And then the 23rd, that Jordan episode, that'll be interesting, Marcus.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be really interesting, personally. Like, because we already kind of said, like, yeah, we're gonna talk about on screen, but we're gonna talk about off screen.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think it'll get one people will talk, like, and it's just opinions, right?
Yeah.
Opinions, and then the stuff we're bringing up is always allegedly, right?
It's allegedly, but then when you have sound bites of stuff that they've said, well, I mean, yeah, it's still alleged because we weren't there, and that's their side of the
Mm-hmm.
story. But at the end of the day, they're still putting that out there, so we have to take what they said, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so if like one is saying, "Hey, they did this, this, this," well, according to him, this happened.
Yeah.
We're not alleging anything. We're just spitting out the facts of what they put out.
Yeah, sure. We're saying what they're saying, what they said, and we're believing it's not doctored.
You know?
I just think it's gonna be fun. I'm actually really excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been excited for a lot of stuff we're doing. Because then, if I'm correct, like after that, isn't it Cosmic Fury time?
It is.
So
Cosmic
like,
Fury drops in 2 weeks, dog.
I know. So like, it's almost like all this is lining up, and that's literally gonna be straight up like a 10 straight episodes. Where we're just gonna talk about each one.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw in other things if things happen, right? If stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
happens, we're gonna throw that in there too. Um, we're gonna talk about it, right? Where you have to, right? You have to talk about things. I can't wait. This is fun. There's a lot of things
Yeah.
going on right now. Yeah, man. Like, I don't even know what else more to say. Like, except like I feel like we got more work to do.
Yeah.
As far as it comes to this, like, yeah, we have more work to do in life, but like, man, we got work to do with the podcast too.
Yeah.
Yeah, people to reach out to, things to try to make happen.
Mm-hmm.
Got to rapping, and unlike Day Day, it was one of the best days of my life. If you don't got anything else, man, go ahead and lead us out.
It's your boys. It's Richard. It's Marcus. We Rangers of the Grid. We got it grocery bag.